Today, we're diving into a really powerful tale from mythology, one that's deeply connected to the festival of Mahashivratri. It's the story of a hunter and his totally unexpected, life-changing encounter with Lord Shiva.
So let's kick things off with a fascinating question that's really at the core of this whole story. Is it even possible to please a god by accident? Without having any idea you're even doing it? Just keep that question in the back of your mind as we get into this.
All right, so our story starts with a man who is, let's just say, far from a saint. He's a hunter, and his whole life has pretty much been defined by violence and sin.
Now, you gotta understand, hunting wasn't just a job for this guy, it was his entire way of life. He was involved in some pretty sinful stuff, like robbing people, all just to feed his family. He was a man driven purely by necessity, not by any kind of religious belief.
The timing here is absolutely key. It happens to be the sacred day of Mahashivratri, but for our hunter, it's just another workday. He's out there deep in the forest, he's hungry, he's thirsty, and he's getting more and more desperate because the sun's going down and he's got nothing to show for his efforts. So, looking for a better spot, he climbs a tree right next to a pond, hoping some animal will show up for a drink. But here's the thing. This wasn't just any old tree. It was a bilva tree, and its leaves are considered super sacred to Lord Shiva. And hidden right at the base of that tree was a shivling, a sacred symbol of the god himself. Of course, the hunter has absolutely no idea about any of this. And this, right here, is where the story takes this incredible turn. Without even trying, without any clue what he's doing, the hunter's simple, desperate actions start to look exactly like a sacred ritual of worship.
Okay, so let's break down how this actually happened. First, because he never caught anything, he had unintentionally been fasting the entire day. Second, to keep himself awake, he just mindlessly starts plucking the sacred bilva leaves and dropping them right onto the hidden shivling below, making an offering. Then, some water accidentally spills from his flask, anointing the symbol. And finally, his sheer determination to wait for prey means he keeps an all-night vigil. He had, without a clue, perfectly performed the four main parts of Mahashivratri worship.
But this night wasn't just about some accidental rituals. Oh no, it was also about to become a deep, profound test of his character, a test of compassion that was going to unfold piece by piece.
And then, finally, his patience pays off. A doe comes to the pond. He quietly draws his bow, taking aim. This is the moment he's been waiting for all day long. But just as he's about to let that arrow fly, the doe speaks to him. She begs for her life, not for herself, but for her little kids who are waiting for her. She gives him her word, a solemn promise that she will return once she's taken care of them.
And this is the first crack in his tough exterior. Something inside him just shifts. He's moved by this strange, unfamiliar feeling of pity. He lowers his bow and lets her go, actually trusting her promise.
As the night goes on, another doe shows up, and the exact same thing happens. He aims, she pleads for her family, and he lets her go. You see, with each one of these acts of mercy, the hunter's heart was starting to soften. The change was slow, but it was definitely happening.
And this brings us to the final act of the night, and the hunter's complete and total transformation. This is the real turning point of the entire story. So, in the last watch of the night, this magnificent stag appears. This is it. This is his last chance before the sun comes up. He raises his bow one more time, his muscle memory just taking over. His whole life has led to this one moment, the kill. But he can't do it. He hesitates, and in that moment of hesitation, he realizes he is not the same man who climbed this tree just a few hours ago. His heart, now filled with this new, strange compassion, completely overpowers his killer instinct. He lowers his weapon and lets the stag live, no strings attached. I mean, just think about that journey for a second. He started the night as a ruthless predator, thinking only about the hunt. He ends it as a man just filled with compassion, choosing mercy over violence. It's a total 180, a complete transformation, all in a single night.
Now, this kind of profound change, brought on by accidental worship and a real transformation of the heart, well, you can bet that didn't go unnoticed. A divine presence was about to step into the picture.
At that very moment, right after his final act of mercy, Lord Shiva, who was so pleased by everything that had happened, appears right there before the stunned hunter.
This is the climax of the whole story.
And Shiva speaks. He acknowledges that, yeah, the hunter's actions were totally unintentional, but they were still true worship. And this is so crucial. It wasn't just the accidental rituals that pleased Shiva, but the genuine change of heart that came with them. That's what made the worship complete. And for this, the hunter gets the ultimate reward. Lord Shiva grants him moksha, which is this idea of complete liberation from the endless cycle of life and death and forgiveness for every single one of his past sins. His one night of accidental devotion and true compassion completely wiped his slate clean.
So, after all that, what are we supposed to take away from this incredible story? Let's break down the key lessons that have been passed down for generations.
Okay, the essence of the story really comes down to a few big ideas. It shows us why Lord Shiva is often called Bolanath, which means the simple-hearted Lord. He's someone who values pure feelings way more than fancy, complex rituals. It also shows us that even devotion you do by accident can lead to amazing results. But maybe the biggest takeaway is that real compassion is a powerful way to find redemption, and that a complete change of heart is possible for absolutely anyone at any time. And that brings us right back to where we started. In a world that can feel pretty complex and sometimes unforgiving, what can we learn from a story where unintentional goodness and a sudden burst of compassion can lead to the ultimate grace? It's a really powerful idea to think about. Thanks for tuning in.